Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. It is your host here, Annalena, and I'm super grateful that you're here today listening to this short and sweet episode. One thing that I feel compelled to share with you today is a really big realization that I have been having, which is also this message that human design is giving me over and over again. It's about, are you trusting yourself? And always remember that we're all different, we're all unique. And I have been now an entrepreneur for a little bit over 7 years, and I've tried so many things. And while I have known for a really, really long time, especially since human design came into my life about 5 years ago, that what works for one person may not necessarily work for me, I still caught myself many, many times trying to do things like other people and then losing my own inner voice through that, or I stopped listening to this. And some of you may remember how this podcast started was all about the art of slowing down. And this is the core of my work, to be honest. And another concept that I really stand for very strongly is less is more. And I found myself oftentimes question these things because I was like, well, but if we slow down too much or if we do too less, and we may miss out on things. And sometimes you have to go fast. And yes, of course. But what I have been realizing is I keep coming back to these core principles, to this core truth for me that just feel right to me. And I think this whole process has been teaching me that, yeah, it's safe to trust yourself. This is the message you're here to bring into this world. The way that I do business is very, very different than how a lot of other people do business. I'm not so much about the hustling and forcing things and pushing things. Yeah, I'm all for working hard when it's in an aligned way. But for me, the biggest priority is that I help you find your aligned path first. And this is why slowing down is so extremely important. Because if I don't take the time to slow down, to listen to my own voice, to listen to my body, what feels right, what doesn't feel right, where do I feel like I'm tapping into this effortless flow of creation versus how does it feel when I'm trying to force things, but it's not really my path here. It's such an important time to immerse yourself into these things. And oftentimes we may get really impatient and we're like, oh, I should be further ahead because there are all these other people already sharing all their success stories. And they're telling me I can give you the exact process how you can do it too. And then we follow that for a while. And then we realize again, oh, damn, I should have just stick to my path. Yeah, I was a little bit slower and I felt like it takes longer and I don't have certainty of how it's going to work out, which we never really have. All we have is this present moment. And I'm now here at this point, 7 years later. And the biggest wisdom that I can give you is it's safe to trust yourself. It's incredibly important to have patience. The more you do you, the bigger of a contribution you're going to give to the world. And yes, of course, there are a lot of amazing tools out there, people that have figured out certain processes and some tech stuff, and obviously with AI and computers and the internet and all these amazing software systems we have a lot of tools at our fingertips that can support our work and get our message out into the world. So, for example, with social media, with podcasting, with blogs, and many other multimedia platforms, we can get our message out there to millions, potentially billions of people. Again, just clicking a button, and it's almost for free. Yeah, we can also pay for ads. But again, like your truth, your core message, how you see the world, that is something that nobody outside of you can tell you what that is. Yeah, I can guide you to that truth. I can keep reminding you to listen to yourself rather than outsourcing that to other people. And the more you have the courage to slow down, to go inward and be patient, I think the faster you're actually going to see results in your business, in also your personal life, because things are flowing so much more effortlessly because you're doing it your way. Look, God gave you some very unique talents, not to waste them, not to ignore them, not to fall into this belief that, oh, that's too easy. Ah, that's not special. No, it was given to you so you can share it. I think our purpose on earth for all of us is to share our unique gifts so we can provide value to the world to help other people in our unique ways. And I have found that the things that also come most effortlessly to me are really creating an incredible value for other people. It's just onto me that I have to come to this point of actually acknowledging that this is actually very, very valuable because I know we have these belief systems where we buy into this idea of, oh, it has to be really hard, it has to be complicated, you have to get a certain degree for that. And yeah, for some things, obviously, that is true. But oftentimes, there's something that you have, and sometimes you're not even aware of it because you're so busy and you're always trying to focus on what's the next thing you have to do, what is this person saying, what is that person saying, and you completely lose yourself. And one of the things that I really love is the Gene Keys. Here's the big book. And right now in True Sky, so what's really up in the sky, we are still in gate 56, about to move into gate 31. But gate 56 in the shadow, or this Gene Key, is about distraction. And I think this is one of the biggest things that we are called to overcome this challenge of distractions. There's so much information out there, and with AI, you can pull all the information from multiple websites. There's so many books, there's so many online courses. And if we're not really, really careful, we are just consuming and consuming and consuming and consuming content. Now, this is not to say that consuming content in general is bad, right? The key here is to be very discerning and to be selective. What kind of content actually is contributing value to you? For me, I have found that any kind of content that makes me question myself, doubt myself, and makes me stop listening to my own inner voice is not good for me. It's distracting. And distracting is also, where we're just constantly busy. We feel like we're watching something, especially with our visual, like our eyes, where we are on a screen constantly. We have to watch TV, or we just have to feel like we're busy, I guess, in some way. You know, and the more distracted we are, of course, the harder it is to actually listen to your own voice. So, the whole intention of this episode today is to make you aware of this. Where are you constantly distracting yourself? And you're so busy doing all the things, but you are actually not fully listening to what is your heart, your gut, your body telling you. What is the thing that you want to talk about? What is the movement that you want to create? What is the one thing that you really, really stand for? And again, like for me, it's really to do business in a way that is more about leaning into the feminine flow first. So you can get really clarity on what is your unique direction? What is your unique contribution to the world? Of course, it also evolves over time, but hence the most important thing for you to practice is to strengthen the muscle of listening to yourself and having the courage to follow that. Despite all the noise, despite all the opinions and all these distractions that are trying to distract us from what really matters, what is right here. So, with that, I want to leave you today. Take a little bit of time to contemplate on this. Like, what are some things that are really, in a way, wasting your time? You're totally distracting yourself. What are some other things that actually bring value to you when you consume it? That actually help you to remind yourself of listening to yourself more? Or maybe it's some things that you're learning and it's really enriching your experience, can also be. And if you would love to share that, I would love to hear this. And if you would love to have my guidance on any of this, I do offer intuitive human design inspired readings, also with the gene keys infused. I always have the link to that in the show notes. And with that, I'm wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. Remember, it's safe to trust yourself, and it's also safe to take some time to really listen to yourself. Because when you do that, again, you get away from following a path that's not really yours, and you keep pushing and working actually much harder than it's necessary. And instead, you can shift more into the direction of your unique path, where you are actually using your genius, where you're actually doing the thing that feels right, where you're saying the things that feel aligned with your own truth that you're here to share with the world. With that, I'm sending you all my love, all my blessings, and I'm excited to be back with you on the next episode. Ciao, everyone.